Hare Krishna, my friends. Welcome to Bhaktiville. We are here. It's so good to see you all. There are just two of us here right now, Bhaktimimulus and I, but Kandita should be coming soon, and I'm so happy that you're listening to us on Facebook. We're continuing our reading of Srimad Bhagavatam, Chapter 3 of the First Canto. Krishna is the source of all incarnations. So some may think that what we're reading is unnecessary, too technical, just a bunch of fictional stories. I want to reiterate and emphasize this excerpt from a purport by Srila Prabhupada that we read last week. He says, the whole theme of Vedic literature is to know the Supreme Lord, the individual soul, the cosmic situation, and the relations between all these items. When the relation is known, the relative function begins, and as a result of such a function, the ultimate goal of life, or going back to Godhead, takes place in the easiest manner. So those three things, Supreme Lord, individual soul, which is you and me, and the cosmic situation, and then the relationship between all three, that's what we need to understand. It is the foundation we need to build our house of bhakti on. So this chapter and all of what we're reading is essential, not fiction, and completely necessary. So let's continue reading about these various incarnations. We're on text 25 of the First Canto, chapter 3. That's page 190 of the PDF, or page 163 of the book. But of course, before we begin that, we want to chant all of our verses. So we'll get the screen going here, where we should be. And first, let's offer our obeisances to Srila Prabhupada and to each other and all other Vaishnavas. So Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prashtaya Putale Srimati Bhaktivedanta Swamini Iti Namane. I offer my respectful obeisances unto His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, who is very dear to Lord Krishna, having taken shelter at his lotus feet. And please accept my humble obeisances, listeners and devotees who are with us. Vancha kalpa tarubhyascha kripa sindhubhye vacha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. I also offer my respectful obeisances unto the Vaishnava devotees of the Lord. They are just like desire trees and can fulfill the desires of everyone, and they are full of compassion for the fallen conditioned souls. So the verses that we sing or chant before we read Srimad Bhagavatam are on the screen now. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Oh my Lord. Oh, there's something in the way, I can't read it. Oh my Lord, the all-pervading something, something, something. I can't see it. I offer my respectful obeisances unto you. Let me see if I can get my mouse to stop doing what it's doing. Nope. Hang on, let me change my preferences. Oh, Krishna, I'm so sorry for this interruption. Name tags are now off. All right, next verse. Oh, all-pervading personality of Godhead was the part I couldn't see. What's so strange? It was like just not there. Okay. Narayanam namaskritya naram chaiva narottamam Devim Sarasvatim Vyasam Tato Jayam Udirayet. Before reciting the Srimad Bhagavatam, which is the very means of conquest, one should offer respectful obeisances unto the personality of Godhead Narayana, unto Narayana Rishi, the supermost human being, unto Mother Saraswati, the goddess of learning, and unto Srila Vyasadeva, the author. And the next verse. Not in focus yet on my screen. I usually have these open on my screen. Hare Krishna Kandita, welcome. You can't hear anybody speaking. I'm sorry. We are speaking. Speaking. Okay, she's going to log out and come back in. All right, next verse. Shrinvatam svakatam Krishna punya shravana kirtanaha hridyantasto hyabadrani vidunoti suhritsatam. Sri Krishna, the personality of Godhead, who is the Paramatma, Supersoul, in everyone's heart, the benefactor of this truthful devotee, cleanses desire and material enjoyment from the heart of the devotee, who has developed the urge to hear his messages, which are in themselves virtuous when properly heard and chanted. And the last one, Nashta prayeshva bhadreshu nityam bhagavata sevaya bhagavati uttama shloke bhaktir bhavati naistiki. By regular attendance in classes in the Bhagavatam, and by rendering of service to the pure devotee, all that is troublesome to the heart is almost completely destroyed, and loving service unto the personality of Godhead, who is praised with transcendental songs, is established as an irrevocable fact. All right. If you could forward that, Bhakti-Mimulus, to plate 14. All right, so let's chant this whole thing all together. Atasau yuga sandhyayam tasyu prayeshu rajasu janita vishnu yashaso namna kalkir jagatpatihi. Kandita, do you want to chant?
Yes. Okay. Atasau yuga sanjayam dasyu prayeshu rajasu janita vishnu yashaso namna kalkir jagat pitihi.
Perfect. Okay, word for word. Ata, thereafter. Asau, the same Lord. Yuga sandhyayam, at the conjunction of the yugas. Dasyu, plunderers. Prayeshu, almost all. Rajasu, the governing personalities. Janita, will take his birth. Vishnu, named Vishnu. Yashasaha, surnamed Yasha. Namna, in the name of. Kalkihi, the incarnation of the Lord. Jagatpatihi, the Lord of creation. And the translation in English. Thereafter, at the conjunction of the two yugas, the Lord of the creation will take his birth as the Kalki incarnation and become the son of Vishnu Yasha. At this time, the rulers of the earth will have degenerated into plunderers. Purport. Here is another foretelling of the advent of Lord Kalki, the incarnation of Godhead. He is to appear at the conjunction of the two yugas, namely at the end of Kali Yuga and the beginning of Satya Yuga. The cycle of the four yugas, namely Satya, Treta, Dwapara, and Kali, rotates like calendar months. The present Kali Yuga lasts 432,000 years, out of which we have passed only 5,000 years after the Battle of Kurukshetra and the end of the regime of King Parikshit. So there are 427,000 years balance yet to be finished. Oh, it hurts me. It's going to get so bad. And therefore, at the end of this period, the incarnation of Kalki will take place. as foretold here in Srimad Bhagavatam. His father's name is Vishnu Yasha, a learned Brahmana, and the village Sambhal are also mentioned. As above mentioned, all these foretellings will prove to be factual in chronological order. That is the authority of Srimad Bhagavatam. So plate 14 that we have showing right now, Bhaktivinoda says, I used to think I had to wait here for Koki. You don't have to wait. Nope, just keep chanting and you can get there before he comes. That would be best. Plate 14 up on the board, the incarnations of Godhead are innumerable, like the waves in the ocean. Jai. Okay, call and response. Avatara Yasankyeya Avatara Yasankyeya Harisattva Nidhidvijaha Harisattva Nidhidvijaha Yata Vidasina Kulyaha Yata Vidasina Kulyaha Sarasaha Syu Sahasra Shaha Sarasa Syu Sahasra Shaha. All right, all together. Avatara Hya Sankyeya Harisattva Nidir Dvijaha Yata Vidasina Kuyaha Sarasa Suya Sahasra Shaha. Dita, you want to go
Of
for it?
course. I'll go for it. Avatara ya Sankheya Hare Sattva Nidir Dvijaha Yata Vidasina Kuya Sarasasya Syu Sahasraha Sahasrashaha.
That last line's really hard. It's got so many C's and then it throws in a sh. It's like, oh my gosh.
Let me try it again. Sarasasyu Sahasrashaha. There. Had to do it.
Had to do it. Sometimes it's like those tongue twisters, you just gotta try it. All right, word for word. Avataraha, incarnations. He, certainly. Asankyayaha, innumerable. Harehi, of Hari the Lord. Sattva nidehi, of the ocean of goodness. Dvijaha, the Brahmanas. Yata, as it is. Avidasinaha, inexhaustible. Kulyaha, rivulets. Sarasaha, of vast lakes. Syuhu are Saha Srashaha, thousands of. Translation. O Brahmanas, the incarnations of the Lord are innumerable rivulets flowing from inexhaustible sources of water. It's really a nice way to explain it. I like that. Purport. The list of incarnations of the personality of Godhead. Excuse me. The list of incarnations of the personality of Godhead given herein is not complete. It is only a partial view of all the incarnations. There are many others, such as Sri Hayagriva, Hari, Hamsa, Prishnikarbha, Vibhu, Satyasena, Vaikuntha, Sarvabhauma, Vishvakshena, Dharmasetu, Sudama, Yogeshwar, Brihadbhanu, etc. in the bygone ages. Sri Prahlad Maharaj said in his prayer, My Lord, you manifest in as many incarnations as there are species of life, namely the aquatics, the vegetables, the reptiles, the birds, the beasts, the men, the demigods, etc. just for the maintenance of the faithful and the annihilation of the unfaithful. You advent yourself in this way in accordance with the necessity of the different yugas. In the Kali Yuga, you have incarnated garbed as a devotee. This incarnation of the Lord in the Kali Yuga is Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. There are many other places, both in the Bhagavatam and other scriptures, in which the incarnation of the Lord as Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is explicitly mentioned. In the Brahma Samhita, also it is said indirectly that although there are many incarnations of the Lord, such as Rama, Nrsimha, Varaha, Matsya, Kurma, and many others, the Lord himself sometimes incarnates in person. Lord Krishna and Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu are not therefore incarnations, but the original source of all other incarnations. This will be clearly explained in the next shloka. So the Lord is the inexhaustible source for innumerable incarnations, which are not always mentioned. But such incarnations are distinguished by specific extraordinary feats, which are impossible to be performed by any living being. That is the greatest test to identify an incarnation of the Lord, directly and indirectly empowered. Some incarnations mentioned above are almost plenary portions. For instance, the Kumaras are empowered with transcendental knowledge. Sri Narada is empowered with devotional service. Maharaj Prithu is an empowered incarnation with executive function. The Matsya incarnation is directly a plenary portion. So the innumerable incarnations of the Lord are manifested all over the universes, constantly without cessation, as water flows constantly from waterfalls. Again, I really like that visually, that explanation. All right, call and response. Rishayo Manavo Deva, Rishayo Manavo Deva, Manuputra, Mahojasaha, Manuputra Mahojasaha, Kala Sarve, Hare Reva, Kala Sarve, Hare Eva. My voice is starting to break up there. Sa Prajapataya, Smitaha, Sa Prajapataya, Smitaha. And all together. Vishayo Manavo Deva, Manuputra Mahaujasaha, Kala Sarve Hare Eva, Sa Prajapataya Smitaha.
Rishaya Manavo Deva, Manuputra Mahaujasaha, Kala Sarve Hare Eva, Saprajapataya Smritaha.
Perfect. All right, word for word. Rishayaha, all the sages. Manavaha, all the manus. Devaha, all the demigods. I'm saying that because this is really important. Manuputraha, all the descendants of Manu. Maha Ojasaha, very powerful. Kalaha, portion of the plenary portion. Sarve, all collectively. Harehe, of the Lord. Eva, certainly. Sa Prajapatayaha, along with Prajapatis. Smitaha, are known. Translation. All the rishis, manus, demigods, and descendants of Manu, who are especially powerful, are plenary portions, or portions of the plenary portions of the Lord. This also includes the Prajapatis. So, purport. Those who are comparatively less powerful are called vibhuti, and those who are comparatively more powerful are called avesha incarnations. So the vibhuti people are Brahma, Shiva, other demigods, from Lord Brahma down all the living entities engaged in the service of the Lord, who are extraordinary, are called Vibhuti. And then the Advaita are Narada, Kapila, and even great devotee Prahlad Maharaj. So to me, it's like everybody's great. I don't make a whole bunch of distinctions there. It's like they're all amazing. All right, plate 15. Let's move on to the next plate, Mr. Mimulus. Plate 15. No, I'll do it. Plate 15. The Lord's pastimes with the gopis are displays of his transcendental existence, bliss, and knowledge. All right, text 28. Call and response. Eticham sha kalapum saha. Eticham sha kalapum saha. Krishnastu Bhagavan Svayam. Krishnastu Bhagavan Svayam. Indrari Vyakulam Lokam. Indrari Vyakulam Lokam. Middayante Yuge Yuge. Middayante Yuge Yuge. Bhakti Mimula says, that's where I messed up. If I hit the board in the wrong place, I end up outside. That's funny. Anyway, okay, so all together. Ete chamsha kalapum saha Krishnastu Bhagavan Svayam Indrari Vyakulam Lokam Middayanti Yuge Yuge.
Ete chamsa kala pumsa Krishnastu Bhagavan Svayam Indrari Vyakulam Lokam Mridayanti Yuge Yuge.
Excellent. I think we're all getting better at this Sanskrit thing.
You know, this Krishnastu Bhagavan Svayam, this is like such a good Sanskrit phrase to say to anybody who says, oh, Shiva's the supreme, or this incarnation is the supreme, or Ganesh is the supreme, or whatever, you know. Here it is, Krishnastu Bhagavan Svayam. Krishna is the supreme personality of Godhead.
Jai.
Jai. Good phrase to remember.
It is. It is. And it looks like Zaza is becoming friends with Kandita. Zaza is our bunny rabbit. All right. Word for word. Ete, all these. Cha, and. Amsha, plenary portions. Halaha, portions of the plenary portions. Humsaha, of the Supreme. Krishnaha, Lord Krishna. Tu, but. Bhagavan, the personality of Godhead. Svayam, in person. So, but Krishna is the personality of Godhead in person, in his very self. Indra Adi, the enemies of Indra. Vyakulam, disturbed. Lokam, all the planets. Middayanti, gives protection. Yuge, Yuge, in different ages. And now Kandita is conversing with the rabbit in chat. She says, Hare Krishna, Zaza. All right, translation. All of the above mentioned incarnations are either plenary portions or portions of the plenary portions of the Lord. But Lord Sri Krishna is the original personality of Godhead. All of them appear on planets whenever there is a disturbance created by the atheists. The Lord incarnates to protect the theists, those who believe in Krishna, who believe in God. Purport. In this particular stanza, Lord Sri Krishna, the personality of Godhead, is distinguished from other incarnations. He is counted amongst the avatars, the incarnations, because out of his causeless mercy, the Lord descends from his transcendental abode. Avatar means one who descends. All the incarnations of the Lord, including the Lord himself, descend on the different planets of the material world, as also in different species of life, to fulfill particular missions. Sometimes he comes himself, and sometimes his different plenary portions or parts of the plenary portions, or his differentiated portions, directly or indirectly empowered by him, descend on this material world to execute certain specific functions. Originally, the Lord is full of all opulences, all prowess, all fames, all beauties, all knowledge, and all renunciations. When they are partly manifested through the plenary portions, or parts of the plenary portions, it should be noted that certain manifestations of his different powers are required for those particular functions. When in the room small electrical bulbs are displayed, it does not mean that the electric powerhouse is limited by the small bulbs. The same powerhouse can supply power to operate large-scale industrial dynamos with greater volts. Similarly, the incarnations of the Lord display limited powers because so much power is needed at that particular time. For example, Lord Parashuram and Lord Nrsimha have displayed unusual opulence by killing the disobedient Kshatriyas 21 times and killing the greatly powerful atheist Hiranyakashipu. Hiranyakashipu was so powerful that even the demigods and other planets would tremble simply by the unfavorable raising of his eyebrow. The demigods in the higher level of material existence many times excel the most well-to-do human beings in duration of life, beauty, wealth, paraphernalia, and in all other respects. Still, they were afraid of Hiranyakashipu. Thus we can simply imagine how powerful Hiranyakashipu was in this material world. But even Hiranyakashipu was cut into small pieces by the nails of Lord Nrsimha. This means that anyone materially powerful cannot stand the strength of the Lord's nails. Similarly, Jamadagnya displayed the Lord's powers to kill all the disobedient kings powerfully situated in their respective states. His empowered incarnation, Narada, and plenary incarnation, Varaha, as well as indirectly empowered Lord Buddha, created faith in the mass of people. The incarnations of Rama and Dhanvantari displayed his fame, and Balaram, Mohini, and Vamana exhibited his beauty. Dattatreya, Matsya, Kumara, and Kapila exhibited his transcendental knowledge. Nara and Narayana Rishis exhibited his renunciation. So all the different incarnations of the Lord indirectly or directly manifested different features. But Lord Krishna, the primeval Lord, exhibited the complete features of Godhead, and thus it is confirmed that he is the source of all other incarnations. And the most extraordinary feature exhibited by Lord Sri Krishna was his internal, energetic manifestation of his pastimes with the cowherd girls. His pastimes with the gopis are all displays of transcendental existence, bliss, and knowledge, although these are manifested apparently as sex love. The specific attraction of his pastimes with the gopis should never be misunderstood. The Bhagavatam relates these transcendental pastimes in the 10th canto, and in order to reach the position to understand the transcendental nature of Lord Krishna's pastimes with the gopis, the Bhagavatam promotes the student gradually in 9 other cantos. According to Srila Jiva Goswami's statement, in accordance with authoritative sources, Lord Krishna is the source of all other incarnations. It is not that Lord Krishna has any source of incarnation. All the symptoms of the supreme truth in full are present in the person of Lord Sri Krishna. And in the Bhagavad Gita, the Lord emphatically declares that there is no truth greater than or equal to himself. In this stanza, the word Svayam is particularly mentioned to confirm that Lord Krishna has no other source than himself. Although in other places the incarnations are described as Bhagavan because of their specific functions, still, nowhere are they declared to be the Supreme Personality. In this stanza, the word Svayam signifies the supremacy as the summum bonum. The summum bonum, Krishna, is one without a second. He himself has expanded himself in various parts, portions, and particles. As Svayam Rupa, Svayam Prakasha, which both one is the form, one's the personality, so original part. Tad Ekatma, Prabhava, Vaibhava, Vilas, Avatara, and Avesha, and Jivas, all provided with innumerable energies just suitable to the respective persons and personalities. So let me just say a little bit about these categories. So Tad Ekatma Rupa forms exist simultaneously with Svayam Rupa form and are non-different. At the same time, their bodily features and specific activities appear to be different. The Tad Ekatma Rupa forms are divided into two categories, Svamsha and Vilasa. So Prabhupada's got those in there. And the Avesha, we've read about Avesha before, living entity who is specifically empowered by the Lord with knowledge or strength. So all of these are various parts, portions, and particles of Krishna. So learned scholars in transcendental subjects have carefully analyzed the summum bonum Krishna to have 64 principal attributes. And those are all explained in chapter 21 of Nectar of Devotion, if you wanted to look at those. So all these expansions or categories of the Lord possess only some percentages of these attributes. But Sri Krishna is the possessor of the attributes cent percent. And his personal expansions, such as Svayam Prakash, Tad Ekatma, up to the categories of the avatars, who are all Vishnu Tattva, possess up to 93% of these transcendental attributes. Lord Shiva, who is neither avatar nor avesha, nor in between them, possesses almost 84% of the attributes. But the jivas, like us, or the individual living beings in different statuses of life, possess up to the limit of 78% of the attributes. And some of those attributes are extremely pleasing, effulgent, strong, ever youthful, wonderful linguist, truthful. So all of those things, Krishna's cent percent have all of those. But then these different categories have lesser and lesser. In the conditioned state of material existence, the living being possesses these attributes in very minute quantity, varying in terms of the pious life of the living being. The most perfect of living beings is Brahma, the supreme administrator of one universe. Lots of universes, but there's one Brahma in charge of every one of those individual universes. And they have varying numbers of heads depending on how complex the universe administration is. He possesses 78% of the attributes in full. All other demigods have the same attributes in less quantity, whereas human beings possess the attributes in very minute quantity. The standard of perfection for a human being is to develop the attributes up to 78% in full. The living being can never possess attributes like Shiva, Vishnu, or Lord Krishna. A living being can become godly by developing the 78% transcendental attributes in fullness, but he can never become a god like Shiva, Vishnu, or Krishna. He can become a Brahma in due course. He really wants to. I don't know. I'd rather just go home and be done with it all. But some people, somebody's got to do the job, right? So the godly living beings who are all residents of the planets and the spiritual sky are eternal associates of God in different spiritual planets called Haridam and Maheshdam. The abode of Lord Krishna above all spiritual planets is called Krishna Loka or Goloka Vrindavan. And the perfected living being, by developing 78% of the above attributes in fullness, can enter the planet of Krishna Loka after leaving the present material body. I think we have time for one more. So we'll do one more. Text 29. Call and response. Janmaguyam Bhagavato Janmaguyam Bhagavato Ya etat prayato naraha Ya etat prayato naraha Sayam patar Gunam bhaktya Sayam pratar Gunam bhaktya Dukha Gramad Vimuchyate Dukha Gramad Vimuchyate. And all together. Janma Guyam Bhagavato Ya etat prayato naraha Sayam prata grinam bhaktya Dukha Gramad Vimuchyate.
Janma Guyam Bhagavato Ya etat prayato naraha Sayam pratar grinam bhaktya Dukha gramad vimuchyate.
Excellent. All right, word for word. Janma, birth. Guyam, mysterious. It could also mean cave or hidden, Guyam. So mysterious. Bhagavataha, of the Lord. Yaha, one. Etat, all these. Prayataha, carefully. Naraha, man. Sayam, evening. Prataha, morning. Grinam, recites. Bhaktya, with devotion. Dukha gramat, from all miseries. Vimuchyate, gets relief from. Translation. Whoever carefully recites the mysterious appearances of the Lord with devotion in the morning and in the evening gets relief from all miseries of life. Purport. In the Bhagavad Gita, the personality of Godhead has declared that anyone who knows the principles of the transcendental birth and activities of the Lord will go back to Godhead after being relieved from this material tabernacle. So simply knowing factually the mysterious way of the Lord's incarnation in this material world can liberate one from material bondage. Therefore, the birth and activities of the Lord, as manifested by him for the welfare of the people in general, are not ordinary. They are mysterious, and only by those who carefully try to go deep into the matter by spiritual devotion is the mystery discovered. Thus one gets liberation from the material bondage. It is advised, therefore, that one who simply recites this chapter of Bhagavatam, describing the appearance of the Lord in different incarnations, in sincerity and devotion, can have insight into such birth and activities of the Lord. The very word vimukti, or liberation, indicates that the Lord's birth and activities are all transcendental. Otherwise, simply by reciting them, one could not attain liberation. They are therefore mysterious, and those who do not follow the prescribed regulations of devotional service are not entitled to enter into the mysteries of his births and activities. Jai. Well, so we'll stop there.
Aye.
Aye. All glories to Srila. Hi.
Hi.
Hi. Hare Krishna.